pretty big news. Rise of the Ronin is coming to PC with an interesting release date. So let's compare it a bit to Shadows. So it seems like they had like a 1-year exclusivity deal for this. Up to 8K, okay, get those monitors ready. Ultra wide support, okay. To be fair, it looks better. It looks already kind of better. On PS5 Pro, the game already looked way better than on PS5, by the way. Shape your own story, yeah, okay. So when does it come out? March 10th. Assassin's Creed Shadows is March 20th. So I'm curious if that was always the date that they wanted to launch it. Or if they, after the Shadows delayed to March 20th, they were like, okay, we are gonna be before that. Obviously, both very similar games. They're also way closer in terms of setting compared to, say, a Ghost of Tsushima, where of course guns did not exist yet. While here you can also use a rifle in Rise of the Ronin. When did the game release on PS5 again? Look, I really would not be surprised, because usually what you see with these games is that there's a 1-year exclusivity deal. I really would not be surprised if they went to Sony and be like, yo, can we launch this a week before Shadows? Because otherwise we would be in the same week, and that's obviously not smart. But yeah, I overall, the game did pretty well for them. In Japan, it reached like 85,000 units sold. It was the fastest selling Koei Tecmo game. That's pretty good. It's still surpassing the Neo series. So it did pretty well, and I'm happy for that. But I also feel that with the original reveal trailer, Rise of the Ronin reveal trailer, I do think they did not hit that hype. Because I remember when that game, when that trailer dropped, and I was like, this trailer, you might remember it. And also, if we look at the views here, 3.8 million views for a Koei Tecmo game that, yeah, usually has like the Neo. Neo is popular, but it's kind of niche. Or niche, like, they were really banking on a bigger audience. Obviously, this looks a lot like Assassin's Creed. And comparing these graphics, I think, to what we just saw on PC. PC looks already way better, obviously. But yeah, Shadows is 1579. So yeah, it's of course closer than say a Ghost of Tsushima. But I remember this trailer and I was insanely excited for it. And they also kind of left more in the dark what the game would be. And yeah, this looks kind of cool too. But look at these graphics. It looks like AC3 or something. It doesn't look like a great. And that was, of course, kind of the thing that I pointed out. And as you might know, I made a review on this game. And that's why, of course, the title is Should Assassin's Creed Shadows Be Scared? I don't think so. Sorry, like, this game, I really did not enjoy it as much as I thought I would. All the ingredients for a great open-world RPG were there. It has a ton of content, but there were basically 2 games into one. And you have, again, look at the graphics here. Now, again, they did improve it on PS5 Pro, but there were many technical issues like this, like the shadows popping in. Those are still in the game, by the way. But you would have this huge open world with not very exciting objectives, but all the main missions were instanced. So every time you would do a main mission, you would transform to this sort of dungeon, and they were all the same. It was always, okay, yo, you start, you got some enemies to kill, and there are 2 sort of captains that you gotta fight, and then you got a boss at the end. And sometimes these bosses, at the like difficulty spikes, would be insane. So while they were trying to make this a very approachable, Neo-type game with an open world and stuff, I personally felt that, like, in the open world I was managing pretty easily, but then the moment I would, like, fight these insanely, like, these bosses at the end of the levels, I would sometimes be like, what do they want me to do? There are 2 bosses all of a sudden. I never fought this before, and if I die, I have to do the whole encounter again. I know maybe you were gonna say get good, but it was just too big of a jump. And it was also the fact that it was constantly the same. Every time you would go into a main story mission, you know, okay, I'm gonna have to fight some annoying bosses. So this all was pretty cool, the open world parts, but it just was. They were kind of too ambitious, I think, and there were also they were just trying too many things. And also here, the biggest problem, there were also a lot of. So again, for every main mission, they had to have a final boss. So that also meant that you would sometimes fight companions. So in one cutscene, you would be like, yo, we're friends, let's do this together. And then at the end of the main mission, because they had to have a boss at the end of that level, that enemy would suddenly like turn against you, and you were like fighting, and you were like really killing them, blood was everywhere, and then at the end of the cutscene, it was like, yo, nice fight, man, and now let's work together again. I'm not really explaining it well, but if you played the game, you know, and there were just, I don't know, there were too many problems with this game. If you like it, more power to you, but that's kind of my thing. I think Shadows is really a step forward, and you could argue, okay, Ghosts, we don't know, like, obviously, Shadows is still, we have not seen the full version, but obviously, Ghost will do some things better than Shadows, but I also think that Shadows does more interesting things than this game. This game came out in the perfect time last year when we were kind of dying for these types of games, but I don't know, there were also like many issues with it, and I did not care for the story. Playing those same missions over and over. The co-op was nice. I get like this guy. I can like summon this guy to help me out, and the next mission you're fighting him, and I'm like, we were working together, and there's no narrative for that. I don't know, man. But I'm kind of rambling. But that's kind of my take on it. It is interesting though that it's launching 1 week before Shadows. I would argue, if you are in the market for a game like this, I would skip this and go for Shadows. But go look for reviews, of course. It does seem like the PC version totally looks better. Like, look at this already. They totally improved a lot. But I still think there's much to be desired. So, yeah, that's kind of my take on this situation. Yeah, Rise of Ronin is all over the place, but it's enjoyable sometimes, Martin. Yeah, I agree. There were totally some moments that I enjoyed, but the more I kept going, I was like, I'm not, like, feeling it anymore. This is kind of a chore to play. Think I'm gonna get tired of the Japanese setting soon. I totally get that, yeah. We're kind of overdue for some new, for some different types of settings. But of course, all these games were greenlit at the same time. So, yeah, now they're all coming out at the same time. Because back then, when they were like, let's make this, there were not a lot of games like that. And of course, for Assassin's Creed, we've been asking for forever to make a feudal Japan setting. And now they're finally here. And Ghost of Tsushima, of course, kind of beat them to it.